Hey there, it's me, Mr. Tacker Drop Films, Mr. TDF. I love making tokusatsu videos like Godzilla and Ultraman and everything else. But today, quick video, my little defense, retrospective analysis, and antidote to the legacy of Ultraman's fusion form era from the 2010s, and one that kinda in some ways still goes to this day, and I'll explain. But nonetheless, this video was supposed to release last Friday, and March, but I wanted to have a video out in early March, but my damn Lenovo laptop, my Windows, it just crashed as I was about to release the video about Ultraman's fusion forms. It's stuck in some weird automatic repair that I can't repair. I don't know. If you know Ultraman Hakari's phone number, give it to me so he can fix my laptop. But I wanted to get this out. It may not be the original intended video, but you guys deserve more Ultraman videos. Somebody has to talk about tokusatsu the right way, so let's get into it. And get your tea, yeah? That's why I look frazzled. I haven't drank my tea yet. Ultraman's fusion form era. So, Ultraman. That franchise had to really recover after the 40th anniversary in the early 2000s. Multitude of reasons that you probably know, because you guys are smart. Then we had the birth of Ultraman Zero in around 2008, 2009, and he had a few, about 2 movies. All of the Ultra Mega Monster Battle Galaxy era. Then in about 2013 we had Ultraman Ginga, then you got a sequel series in 2014, but then we got to Ultraman X in 2015, who builds off what Ultraman Victory did in Ginga's show by having the powers of Kaiju, but this time in battle armor. And you look towards this day, 2026, we're back to using power armors, except now they're more original. By that I mean they're not referencing anything in the past of the franchise. But let's go back. So Ultraman X and Victory are using the powers, even Ultraman Ginga, of some past established characters. Of course, the reason is, Bandai, if Bandai was going to help Super, yeah, you got to make money. I get it. But it kind of shows the brand power that Ultraman has, that even the kaiju themselves are so memorable and full of character that their powers are recognizable. So then you get to Ultraman Orb, the 50th anniversary show for Ultraman. And Orb is, to put it in, to sum it up in simple terms, he has to find his identity as an Ultra. So his forms for most of the show are combinations of previous powers. I mean, his devout form is a combination of Ultraman Tiga and Ultraman, original Man Nissan. And my particular favorite form of Orb, for me at least, is the one Hurricane Slash, a combination between Zero and my guy, Ultraman Jack. I just love seeing Ultraman Jack appear in some form. But Orb has a bunch of forms. There's even a whole, I can't remember, it's like a gacha game or an arcade game or a Nintendo game, something like that. He has many other forms and other, pockets of media you can find, but that's the point of Ultraman Orb. They took the advantage of it being a 50th anniversary show and the constraints at the time, but still wanting to show the beauty of tokusatsu, so I get it for the forms. That's why I think, in terms of legacy of Ultraman in retrospect, doing the forms, like actual forms of combining past heroes, wasn't a bad idea at all. I can see why they did it, and of course, to this day, about 10 years later, Orb has his fans like he does. He's a great show, a great character. So clearly Ultraman still made an impact in a different era, in a new way, finding a new audience. But I just see Ultraman Geed and other Ultraman shows after that. It was mainly Orb, Geed, and Z that would use the powers of Ultras. Orb and G, they each use 2 Ultras at a time, but for Z, my guy, you can see him, right here, Ultraman Z, he would use 3 Ultra powers at a time. And I just think it's really cool that, if you think about this, right, audiences watching, you have new fans, old fans. I think the way that they use the forms in these particular shows is about bridging the gap. Imagine, you have a niece, a nephew, or you're a parent, or you have a younger sibling, or you have, friends, you're, spending time with friends and whatnot. Anybody, family members, colleagues, you name it. And you're like the Ultimate expert, right? You grew up watching Ultraman. But this person, whether they're younger or just new to the franchise, now they're watching this new show that uses previous powers of Ultramans that you knew growing up. You get to see classic monsters return for the fight, old villains, you name it. And you get to see this bridging of the gap between eras in some ways, in a new creative way than ever before. Of course, In the Heisei era, you had Ultra 7 still popping up, and you had, original Ultraman and Tiga. Even Zafie appeared in Neos. And you had some classic foes appear in, like the Ultraman Cosmos movie or the next. And Max and Mebius were about bringing back old monsters, and much more. Mebius was actually being part of the show continuity. But I think that this third generation, the way they use forms and powers, they even use some, like, whatever the Henshin device is. They use the powers of other characters for, like, small moments. It doesn't have to be forms, but there's something there inherently that I think that Ultraman did it rather tastefully. And that's the key. They did it in an earnest way. Orb, G, Z, even Rosso and Blue, they use the powers of Ultras for their forms. It's not more, it's not like apparent in the design. It's more like just the powers. But the point still stands that the way that these guys use forms, it felt endearing. And then you have a show like Ultraman Taiga, which he didn't really have, like, again, it's not really fusion forms. He does when he becomes Rega, but with that takes everybody like his father Taro did, Super Taro. Okay, kind of rambling, but you get the point. But Taro, they even did it, his son Taiga had a whole team of Ultras. He had Fuma and Titus, so that way instead of having forms, you just had different Ultras. So again, right, if you're looking back in retrospect, Ginga, X, Orb, Jeed, Rosso and Blue, Taiga, the way all these guys used all their forms leading up to Z, and using, honoring the legacy of that, now these guys can, all these new Ultras have their own Earths, but they can cross over to each other, and it feels connected in a way that never was before. And having that back, that layer of past Ultras and their powers being heavily involved, I just think it really makes it feel alive. It makes the universe, somehow it doesn't feel small, but feels even grander. And I think that's an achievement of the Ultraman. I think that's an achievement of the Ultraman multiverse. Somehow they made it work. Like, sure, there are other moments of, heavy-handed fan service and what have you. Maybe some missed opportunities along the way. And of course, looking back, I can see why people like the older formulas of just a new Ultra and a new world, but we still got that. And I think that still is a testament to all these new Ultras, the third era. And as we get into Reiwa, that even if they are steeped in some kind of past Ultra, being a new generation, what have you, new generation Belial with Jeed, or new generation Taro with Taiga, new generation Ace with Z, and so on and so forth. It's not really a gimmick. I think they just kind of did it to show that you can live in the shadow, for lack of a better term, of the past, but you can still make your own light. The light can shine on you. You can still be something new that is inherently you. That's why, you have shows like Orb and Z that kind of have this big aha moment of the Ultras being themselves by the end. And it's just cool that even Z is emblematic of what I've talked about in this video. Like, you look at him, right? He upped the ante by having 3 metal forms. Each of them represented a different era. It's how I got into Ultraman. Really, like, I knew about Ultraman back then, but in 2020, even watching like the anime or a few of the clips on YouTube as a kid, back when the internet was a new thing, finally getting the Ultraman through Z, and then wanting to go check out Showa and Heisei and other shows, and still to this day, trying to watch more Ultraman and understand the rest of the franchise, part of why I made this channel. Z is just, I think, emblematic of what I've talked about today, right? A beefy show, it gets to the point, but his different forms represent eras to fans. The Showa form, Beta Smasher, with Ace, Taro, and the original Ultraman. He's got his Alpha Edge, which shows the mastery legacy from Ultra 7, the Leo, to Zero. And then he has a form like Gamma Future of, they're up there somewhere, Tiga, Dyna, Gaia. Then he has his Decium Claw form that shows the bond he just made throughout his own show with Ultraman Jeed, by combining the powers of Jeed with Belial and Ultraman Zero, his own master. So again, like, there's the way that Z really made it feel like you felt the whole legacy Ultraman was there, that no matter how big the multiverse was, these guys are still going to be there to help you and help each other. I just think that's the beauty of it. So with all that in mind, kind of wrap up this video, guys, and thank you for watching. I think that as we get into this new, more Reiwa era, maybe it can be considered the 4th era of Ultraman. And, they don't really use power forms anymore. If they do, it's battle armor. because it costs less to make a new separate suits than it is just to put armor onto a main couple of suits. I do think that looking back and seeing how they kind of had to go with the forms, the fusion forms, to get to where we are now. And looking back, and I mean, there's like I said, 3 big shows that are heavily reliant on fusion forms, and other ones just use the powers for like a boost. I mean, yeah, like, it didn't overstay its welcome. If it was to come back of Theo this year, I don't think it will, but if they do it in a way that feels earned and can get people hyped while benefiting the current story at hand, then I can see Theo going for it. But if the new Theo show is just doing his own thing with power armor again, I don't know. I feel like they might have something up their sleeve in terms of giving him like an oomph to his shows. But nonetheless, with Ultraman, you can always count on them doing something tastefully. And with, a degree of honor that is a mix of nostalgia and just feels like a mature way of looking at their own franchise. That's what I love about this series. So let me know in the comments below what your favorite memories of Fusion forms. Do you miss them? Do you want them to keep coming back? Or is just seeing past guys that had Fusion forms like Z pop up and using them again, is that enough for you? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. I was Mr. Tiger Drop Films. Once again, I know this wasn't the original video I had made, but I hope it suffices. So check out my past Ultraman videos, and I'll see you in the next one, because I got more cooking for all the things I like on this channel. Until next time, watch, and I'll see ya.